thing here. Bitcoin dominance on the rise. That's notable. Having some trouble here at this 61 level. Probably Bitcoin leads this next rally, but we just don't know. I mean, the charts are telling me Bitcoin's looking like it's going lower. So I want to be alerted to this above 62. Bitcoin dominance on the rise might be worth then pulling out of some alts, even then taking partial losses to ride that Bitcoin wave. Now that Sol has kind of really dropped off, and I'll just touch on that, by the way. The Sol news, this is why these markets are definitely manipulated. They ran Sol up to 300 on that Trump news, and then some of the whales decided, hey, you know what? Let's create a narrative why Sol is the bad guy, and all these meme coins that everyone lost money on, including the Trump and Melania coin. Let's use that as a narrative to make Sol the boogeyman, and short the snot out of it up here, and then just really dump it. But wait for it. So glad we have. Oh, a surprise! The order block detector. I thought for sure there'd be order blocks down here. Regardless, we have strong support down in this area on Sol dominance. It's not over for Sol. They're just switching the narrative over to hyperliquid, and we can look at that too. But anyway, let me just jump to Sol, because that's ETH we'll touch on. But since we've been talking about Sol, and I had made some recent recommendations, and I sorry for those, they were wrong. I can't be right all the time, but they were the right call at the time. We had buy blocks down in here. We had support. It was that narrative that I just talked about with the powers that be deciding, and it's sort of it's not necessarily the whales, although they might have triggered it, because a lot of the traders, they follow the narratives, and we have to be really careful about the news we're getting. The big powers that be, they know the buttons to push and the levers to pull to get a snowball effect. And essentially, that Sol is bad because they allowed all of these meme coins and the pump fund to come out, and partially that's true. But now they're really just saying it's an unethical exchange, and that came out of nowhere. And so here, fact of the day, recent incidents in the Solana network have led to a noted rotation of capital from Solana to Ethereum. What has the narrative been up until 2 weeks ago? Oh, Ethereum's bad. It's never going to work. The Sol is a better one. Let's go over to Solana. Solana ETF. Money moves. Okay, money rotation is a thing. Now they're saying, well, Solana's it's had its turn. Let's move it back to Ethereum. Analysts suggesting the Sol ETH trading pair may have peaked. The whales are going to move this market, and it is a bit of a fugazi. So, yeah, 82 Solana settlement, sentiments. And the other part of that I do want to mention that's not listed there is the FTX. The FTX recovery. It's not clear, have they been dumping the FTX Solana here? There is an unlock coming also that we knew about and we talked about, but that was, we thought, and largely was the reason for this sell-off, because there's an unlock period coming that Solana holders who have been holding for a long time, way back down here, and generally that means that they're going to take some profits, so people tend to sell ahead of it. And so we thought we had digested that in here, and we were buying perfectly at the bottom of that trend channel. I still maintain the trend is your friend until it isn't. So this dip, I'm going to look at it on a weekly time frame. The thing is, we could still recapture the uptrending channel on a weekly basis, but I'm not terribly hopeful. Today's is the midweek. We would have to rally back up above 200. We'd have a real nice wick. That would be super bullish if that happens. So let's set an alert on that. I'm not saying we get it, but all of this news is just, this market is very, news news driven, and we just don't know. So I'm holding my Sol, right or wrong. And now I'll be watching this on a weekly too. If we start to close below the 50-week EMA, then I'll probably sell half, take a loss, and move it into something else. But be very careful. Look, sometimes the best trade is no trade, and the best traders stay out of the market. So here's a good example, by the way. We started to go green on this Sneaky, I almost dropped a sort of semi-profanity on this one. Look at that sneaky bastard right there. Tried to fool us, guy. But that's why we really want to make sure that we confirm the weekly TSI above 20, because here it did pull back, but it bounced off of it. Generally, when we get now this, I haven't seen it get right up to the line like that before and reject. Generally, you have three of these and you're there. It's on. It's on like Donkey Kong, right? But nope, rejected. So anyway, weekly time frame, we'll be watching that carefully. Otherwise, we've lost all the buy blocks down in here. Otherwise, Sol could come down into the 125 range. Such a volatile market. We were hit 300 a couple weeks ago. I had sold mine into strength at 245 and was happy about that. Thought we were going to catch this. It's going to be that one time that, and there's no way to really know. There's news about. I'm not trying to say to validate why I was wrong. I'm just trying to say, hey guys, I'm sorry if you bought in. I was very bullish on Sol. I was very bullish on stacks, but I'm very sort of gun shy of this market right now. So we ride it out. What else can we do? So that's Solana. Let's talk about Injective here. I saw some really interesting Injective video clips today. Young guy, seems like a good project. They're positioning in front of finance. The reason I like DeFi, and I think it's going to run well, is I think people are realizing these coins with no value or utility or monetization model are essentially shed coins. Businesses eventually need customers. They need to make a profit, because otherwise in the bear they're done. So DeFi companies like Aave, that's been pushing up or was for a long time, has a monetization model. It makes money on those yield, those lending. So lending, yield farming, liquidity pools, those businesses, they'll make money. Companies in DeFi. So Ondo, strong partnerships. Ondo has a recent partnership with XRP. Forget the chart for a minute. These are the times where we have to connect the dots ourselves. The Ondo Summit's coming up. Ondo's a big player, and eventually I think that's really going to run. Same with Lido Finance. Those two in the DeFi space. We'll look at the charts. Injective is in financial also, and I need to do a little more research on it. Maybe we'll pull that up. But let's look at the charts. I just did a video, by the way. I'll share it with you guys so you can critique my video skills. It's got like full video on dollar cost averaging, and essentially this is a good example of that. And you guys have heard me talk about the strategy here. So this could go one of two ways, and I drew these arrows days ago, so clearly it's taking the second path. But when we don't know, let's just move it all over. There. See how easy that was? See, trading is easy. Yeah, well, arguably no, it isn't. But here, so at this point, we could either sell half, right, which would be the right thing to do, sell half Injective, and wait for either a drop to dollar cost average down around here, where there's buy support around $11, right? So then we raise our overall average cost. This is why this strategy of selling half at key resistance makes sense. We have a sell block. We're in a downtrending channel. We have the thin ice above the 21-day EMA. So selling half, we can buy back lower rather than ride it down all the way. Okay, protecting capital. Even if it pushes higher, what does it likely do? It likely comes back and retests. So since we're close to that level, and had I been, I mean, look, guys, I love what I do here, but it takes a lot of time and attention away to actually doing my own trades and trying to set things up. Setting a sell alert in this region for half would have been better, because it pushed up and did pull back. I could have sold half here last night. I've got a decent sized position, because if it pushes higher, you're still in the trade, and generally it'll come back and retest. I'd rather buy back into support or into strength, right? Even though you say, well, we might have missed the move. Well, true, but you also protected against the downside. So A or B, you're still did the right thing, and you still have the chance. If you're in Injective right now, I would suggest to do that and to sell, say, a quarter or a third here, and put a limit sell order in up to this level at 1550 or 1540, Because overnight in Asia, they usually pump these things and then they pull it back down. And probably it would fill, because I think this is going to go lower, at which point I will be happy I sold half and I'll buy it back in this green box somewhere down in here for the bounce. Make sense?
Hey, this is Brett from Moonstream. If you'd like to learn more about our pro trading signals or our live classes every Wednesday or our Retire Rich program, go over to moonstream.io/start.